Shalom, G-Man Solid Sit Downs coming back with a lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. Want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS. Peace and salutations to the elect. Is pushing his word in sincerity and in truth all over the four corners of the earth. So yeah, back with the lesson. This is gonna be an in-depth lesson, for the brothers that watch my channel. Every now and then I make an in-depth video wherewith I go into breakdowns that we have learned from the elder apostles on down a couple years ago, that through the in-depth videos I want to bring back up, so the brothers that come in new can also see the older breakdowns, which are still the right breakdowns, man. So this is gonna be in depth, and it's gonna be named the Cherub that Coverth. So beginning with this picture, I thought there was a funny picture. See Caesar Borgia, who stood for the fake image of Yahushua, man, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. He is the fake image of that, man. This dude is a rapist, he's a poisoner, he's a crook, man. And he actually lived, but his name was not Jesus, man. And he was certainly not the son of the Most High. This guy is Caesar Borgia. So the picture says, I can no longer deceive these Israelites. They have awoken and know that I am Caesar Borgia, or Zacarhy Borgia. Borgia. Borgia, however you want to name it. But then you have this image of the beast. This has to be X'd out, man, because this image of the fake GC Crazy Caesar Borgia is not the image of the beast, man. So before I start this lesson, X this out. This is not the image of the beast. The image of the beast, what Revelation chapter 13 speaks about, is the image of the society. If you join hand in hand with the image of the society, if you don't have a problem with it, then you are a follower. Then you are a follower of the image of the beast, man. The Roman image, the image that the ways that this society puts in front of you and wants you to accept. Where in the mark of the beast, the RFID chip is soon gonna play a big part, man. So X this out. But the funny thing is, Caesar Borgia realizes that we can't be deceived by this image no more. Because we are waking up. So that's what I'm basically gonna go into. I'm gonna go into the nature of this devil, this cracker, and basically his main purpose, one of his main purposes upon the planet Earth, man. And it's not gonna be long, I think, but we're gonna go into it, man. So this is Ezekiel chapter 28 and 13. Thou hast been in the garden, it's like thou hast been in Eden, the garden of the Most High. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, and the sapphire, and the emerald, and the carbuncle, and the gold, the workmanship of the tabrets of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. So the so-called white man, his spirit was already there in the Garden of Eden, man. Like it says, thou hast been in Eden, the garden of the Most High. The spirit of the so-called white man was there. The people that had the spirit wasn't just they didn't have leprosy. They didn't have a skin that was withered away from their pigment, man. They were so-called black people, but they carried the spirit of the so-called white man today, man. You know, so the so-called white man in spirit was there, man. The so-called white man's spirit was there in the Garden of Eden. You know. So verse 14, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. This meaning that the Most High has set up the so-called white people, the spirit that was already there in the Garden of Eden. The Most High has set the so-called white people up to cover. They are the anointed cherub that cover. You know, and if you go into that word cover, it says to edge, to fence about, shut in, to block, overshadow, screen, stop, to approach, shut off, cover, to screen. You know, if you screen something, just like what you say in street basketball or even in basketball, but I'm familiar with the street basketball in a ways wherein you play 2 against 2 or maybe 3 against 3, and then you are screening a person so he cannot reach your partner in the game. You screen him, and then the opposite player, he says screen, because a screening is happening, meaning someone is covering the opponent, so his fellow player can score. So that's what the so-called white man did, man. They screened the truth. They covered the truth. They overshadowed the truth. You know? So it says, I don't want to leave this here also to come back to. So it says, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. The Most High has set him so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of the Most High. Thou walkest up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. So they was amongst the stones of fire. Who was the Adamites, man? The Adamites, because there were multiple Adamites. There was not only one Adam. There was a whole group of Adamites, a whole group of chosen, you know. But the lineage went through the one Adam, man, which everyone knows of. So the spirit of the so-called white man was amongst those stones of fire, which represent people, man. You know, but the point, they are the cherub that cover it. Now, what did they do? You know, a very familiar scripture with a lot of brothers that come into this truth. One of the first scripture, you know, you hear is Job chapter 9 and 24. And it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. Here you have that word cover again. You know, if you look it up. If you look it up, it says, you know, to cover, to hide, to conceal, cover. You know, the same thing that it said here in Ezekiel, man. To cover, you know, to overshadow. And here it's even a more spiritual meaning, even though, you know, it goes down to the same, it boils down to the same thing, but here it's really to overshadow, you know, in a spiritual meaning. And here it's just they cover, they spread over, which they literally did. You know, we're gonna go into that in a minute, man. They really they really concealed it. And you know it's talking about the so-called white man, because who's ruling the earth in wickedness, man? Who's ruling the earth right now in the first place, man? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. That's the so-called white man in the Bible, named as Esau, Edom, the Edomites. If not, where and who is he? And also, if we take these two things, we know where and who he is, man. We know that it's the so-called white man, because the earth is given unto him, and he's the wicked. We can see that in his ways. Homosexuality is being pushed. All these diseases are being pushed. Sicknesses are being put in these vaccinations, which they recommend you to take. That's pure wickedness, man. Spraying chemtrails each and every day over the people to break down their immune system, make them sick, drop the world population, having a world agenda wherein they want to depopulate the earth up till 400 million, 500, 500 million, even though there are 7 billion people upon the earth, and probably more. So that's wicked shit, man. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. Who's the ultimate judge? Who's the ultimate judge, man? He who everyone calls Jesus, man, which his real name is Yahushai. He's the ultimate judge with white woolly hair. That's why these English judges, from back in the day, they always came with this white woolly wig, man, because they know, with this white woolly hair, because they know the ultimate judge is a so-called black man named Yahushai, and he had white woolly hair. He's the ultimate judge of the earth. But now they want to put on these afro wigs and claim to be the judges, man, which they aren't. You see? So the so-called white man covered the faces of the judges thereof. And that's what they have been set up to do. Like it says here in Ezekiel 28 and 14. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. And we have seen that in the Dark Ages, man. In the Dark Ages, these were pictures that were there, man. You had this art, the art of the Dark Ages. You see so-called negroes, man. So-called negroes everywhere you look, man. So-called Negro Roman, because the Roman Empire was at a point ruled by Hebrew Israelites, man. The negroes, latinos, and indianos. You had emperors like Pesinius Niger, Septimius Severus. Those were Israelite rulers, man, of Rome, and they ruled the Byzantine Empire in the Dark Ages, man, from around 180 BC up to like the 1300s, man, and even until the 1600s, you still had Negroes in England, man, Slovakia in England, because the King James, King James, he gave the authority to write the King James Bible in 1611, man. So that shows you that there were still Israelites in England, man, and that's why the first slaves came from Europe. The first slaves came from Europe, man. Countries like Spain, France, Portugal, England, Ireland. That's why you also have a thing called the Black Irish. Why was they the Black Irish? Because we ruled in Ireland, man. And if you look up the names of these places, Scotland means black land. The word Scot means black. England, angel land. Ireland, the word ire means angry land, because And when you look at these Irish people, you know, when they go to these pubs, these Irish pubs, they drink a few beers and it ends up in a fist fight, man. You know, and if you look at the West Indian brothers, the Benjamites, it's the same thing, man. You know, these Antillean people um, that I know, they drink a few beers, their eyes get red. You know, they drink some whiskey, their eyes get red, and it ends up in a fight, man. You know, in a heated argument. To break it down softly, you know. So there, with that, you can see that, hey, these are our people, man. You know, these a lot of Irish are descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. So back to the topic, we was ruling in Europe. You have a book called Nature Knows No Color Line, wherein you see all these family shields or family crests, I believe you call it. You see, family crests of Afro Europe. So you have here you clearly see that these family crests were from countries like Switzerland, Germany, Holland, you know, which shows you, and this is the crest of Holland is a lion, man. Why do you think it's a lion? Because Negroes were in here, man. Negroes was in this country, Holland. You know this lion with the claws up? It's the Dutch lion, man. And you see a lot of people. You have a lot of people that look like so-called white people that have the last name Maurice or Maurits, which those names all come from Moor, man, because Moors had these last names: Maurus, Mauritius, Maurits. You know, if you see a so-called white man with a last name like that, you know, you better be careful with, you know, with how you deal with him, because he might be a Jake, man. You know, if you start talking about your bitch ass going into slavery, this and that, you know, he might be a Jake, man. So you know, you gotta look at that spiritually. But if you don't know about this, the so-called white man is not gonna give you all these things, man. But this shows you this truth is coming out. You know, I can easily type this in. I have to know this sentence though, and I can find it, man, online. I can find it online. But what the so-called white man did, which was the thing that they was set up to do, was to destroy this art, man, from the Dark Ages. And then they came something which was called iconoclasm, you know. And if we go into the meaning of iconoclasm, it says 1797, in reference to an act of breaking or destroying idols physically, figuratively, from 1858, in reference to beliefs, cherished institutions. See iconoclast, an older word for it was iconomacy, from Greek machi. Let's look up this word, iconoclast. Breaker or destroyer of images. Exactly. So you had all these images of so-called Negroes ruling in Europe, even so-called Negro angels, you know, in art. Yahushai, Moses, painted like dark-skinned men. But all of a sudden, all these things changed, man, and that's iconoclasm. When the so-called white man stood up during the Renaissance, which the word Renaissance means rebirth. Rebirth of what? The so-called white man's rulership, man, which they had during the Roman Empire until Jake took over. Like I said, around 108 AD. So during the Renaissance, which started around 1400, it was the rebirth of the so-called white man, and the first thing that they did was iconoclasm. So here you see a so-called white man having this image in his hand with Negro. You see a woman with a child, which represents, Yahushua and his mother. This, and you see what he's doing. He's breaking it. So like the word iconoclast says, breaker or destroyer of images. And the breakdown of it is icon is image, and clastes is breaker. Icon is image and clastes is breaker. Iconoclast, icon, image, clast is break. So that's what they did, man, and that's what this scripture represents. Thou art the anointed, Ezekiel 28:14. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. The Most High has set him so. Why? Because this truth is not for everyone. Due to this thing that the so-called white man has done, due to the breaking of these images, due to the covering and the changing and the deceivery that they did, certain people don't believe in the Bible. Certain negroes, latinos, and indianos don't believe in the Bible. Because they don't have the truth. And that means that the truth is not for them, man. This means the truth is not for them. If they can't get it, then the truth is not for them. And the Most High has set up the so-called white man to do this thing for stumbling blocks for our people, because the Most High doesn't want all of our people, man, to come into the truth. The Most High has chosen an elect from before the foundation of the earth. So he already set up the man that he wants to wake up to this truth. But here you see more scriptures concerning this thing. This is 1 Maccabees chapter 3:48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. So now here we see, the images of the dark ages, which they have destroyed. And if we don't then go into the Renaissance art, all of a sudden everything is fucking whitewashed, man. You see this? All white images. You see what we just checked out? Yahushua and his mother. All of a sudden it turned into this. This is the Renaissance art. This is Caesar Borgia, which now realizes that, his deceivery is over, man. Medusa was a so-called black woman, with the Rasta in the Greek times. So this is Renaissance art, man. This is the covering that they did. This is their work. This is why they are set up. One of the reasons that they are set up, because they are also set up for other things. But this is the covering, man. This is, like the word says, this is what the word says: to hedge, to fence about, shut in, to block. What are they blocking? They are blocking the truth from you. They're blocking the truth from you. Wait, let me put it good. which this is the truth, but they block it with this. This is the truth, and they block it with this crap. See? So that's the blocking, to overshadow, to screen. You know, I just gave you an example of screening. To overshadow, to screen, to stop the approach. If you're approaching towards this, or if you're looking up things concerning the Dark Ages, you will end up looking at this, man. You know? And then you might think like, oh, you typed in Renaissance. If I type in Dark Ages art, it's the same thing, man. See? A bunch of crackers. Because they covered it. So you might want to dig into the Dark Ages, what happened during that time, but then you will end up seeing this nonsense, man. These crackers. This is not the truth. You know? The Byzantine Empire, which we was ruling. You know, you end up finding these things. So that's the stopping of the approach. You approach towards the truth, but then they block it with false images to shut off cover, to screen cover, to cover oneself. You know, here you had the beautiful word overshadow, man. They overshadow the truth with this crap. Baby angels, fucking pedophiles. You know? So back to the scripture. Wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. That's what they did. They paint the likeness of their images. 2 Maccabees chapter 15 verse 10. And when he had stirred up their minds, he gave them their charge, showing them wherewithal the falsehood. This is Judas Maccabeus. He showed his brothers the falsehood of the heathens and the breach of the oaths. What is the falsehood of the heathen? The covering, man. And not only the covering of this, but even the covering of the scriptures, man. Because this is how these new Bibles look like, man. You know? This is how the new Bibles look like. If you put the chapters of King James beneath them, these things will be filled in, man. But in these new Bibles, the NIV, for example, these things are cut out, man. And here you have certain examples of scriptures that are taken away from the NIV. You know, and that, yeah, for example, Matthew 18:11. One time I was teaching, you know, in the camp, and this Christian came with the NIV Bible, and I was you know, I said, hey, can you grab Matthew chapter 18 verse 11? And I started reading it. You know, the brother started reading it, and I was like, hey, what happened, man? Why you looking so long? He was like, hey, it's not there. I said, of course it's not there. You know, it jumps from Matthew 18 verse 10 to Matthew 18 and 11, man. As a matter of fact, let me just show you, man. Matthew chapter 18 verse 11. King James, the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost, which is the Hebrew Israelites. So where the scripture at? Where the scripture at, bro? It's not there, bro. You see? That's also a way to cover and to overshadow by taking away scriptures. Taking away scriptures wherewith certain brothers can be woken up to the truth, man. Because when I was small, I asked my mother, like, so how come the negroes in America don't know where they are from? Because they are lost, man. So if I would have read this, the Son of Man, which is Yahushai, Son of the ground, is come to save that which is lost, I would see like, oh, so Yahushua is gonna come to save the people in America, man. The negroes in America, because they are lost. They don't know who they are, you know. But that is what they do. They are deceivers. They are devils that take it away. But they are set up by the Most High as that covering cherub, man. You know. So those things are ways also to cover. And here you see a couple of scriptures. If you want to write down these scriptures, you can pause the video now and just write them down. But I'm going to continue with the lesson. This is Isaiah chapter 60 verse 2. And it says, "For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth. The darkness shall cover the earth." And this already happened, and it's gonna happen even worse, man. Darkness covering the earth. Darkness meaning there is not gonna be any knowledge, man. And due to the so-called white man, darkness has covered the earth. Knowledge has been overshadowed, has been covered, has been blocked, has been, what else? Stopped to be approached. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. So knowledge is not going to be inside of people, man. But Yahweh shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And that's what's happening right now, man. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is opening the minds of his men, of his servants. So all this nonsense, all this darkness, all this this overshadowing of the true reality is being revealed, man. And the acts of the so-called white man are being revealed too. You see? Because Yahweh is arising upon us, upon the negroes, latinos, and indianos, the Hebrew Israelites, the sons of the Most High, yasharahla. This is Matthew chapter 25 verse 7. "And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations," which the veil that was spread had been spread by this covering cherub, which is the so-called white man. The Most High is gonna destroy that mountain. The Most High is gonna destroy that rulership, wherein they are ruling in wickedness, man. Like the scripture says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof." So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying. I hope brothers are back up to date, with through the backup it's like through the back in depth lesson, and if you already knew, it's always good to repeat all the breakdowns and go over them again and dig into it, man. So with that, I want to say shalom.